You mentioned in our pre-call, become a shareholder. You have to be able to bring in clients.
Mhm.
Talk about your journey of developing the skills of bringing in clients, letting that client know that I have your best interest and that I can provide a service that you need.
That would really it really revolves around listening
Mm,
and knowing that your job is to respond and to help your client anticipate what's next in a way that's meaningful to them.
mhm,
And law school, I think you come out with a lot of law school teaches you to have a right answer. School. It's not just law school. We all spent from the time we were 6 years old in first grade until whatever we quit doing, right? Until you took the whatever last professional accreditation that you got, your CFP, your CFA, whatever it is. You literally went and took a test. And in order to achieve and pass, you had to give the right answer.
mhm.
The practice of law, and I mean, much like financial planning, right? It's like what matters to you. And being able to engage your client in a way that shows I understand your struggle and I I'm communicating with you in terms that you use that are familiar to you, and I'm helping you embrace your struggle and do the diligence that management requires, or show to your supervisors that, hey, I've looked at this in a common sense way, or whatever it is that matters in your organization. I think that's what you got to do as a lawyer, to kind of pivot off of what school taught us to have the right answer. And so in order to be successful serving clients, you've got to humble yourself and first be like, I'm not here with the answer. I'm here to be responsive and to help my client solve their particular problem in the way that their organization would expect them to handle it. If I just walk in, and sometimes I know the answer, right? You can hand me a case I've tried before, and I know exactly, like, we go try this to a jury, like blah blah blah. I rip that off. But my client is thinking about a totally different set of things. And so if you become that person who can listen and who can help give them the information they need through the lens that they see the world in, I think, and you're diligent and you communicate and you reply and you're responsive, those are the things that help you build a brand that are going to bring in clients.
So let's talk about the tactical steps as far as sales. Did you cold call? Did you walk up to their office? Did you ask for referrals from the people you're currently working with? Like, when did you start those engagements?
When I got out of law school, unknowingly.
Wow.
So I I generally most of the time enjoy people until I'm tired, right? And I understand that life truly is in many ways about who you know. And it truly is about the people you surround yourself with, right? Your mother was more right than you knew when she said, be careful who you're hanging out with. And that totally applies in a professional setting. And I've been fortunate and worked hard at it. And that being the president of the state bar of Georgia, the things that you do to get there give you a pretty enormous network of people who know you and who where you stay top of mind. Or when, like, LinkedIn comes out, right? You'd be like, hey, I'm gonna engage on LinkedIn. I'm gonna like some people's posts. I'm gonna try and meet some people. I'm gonna hook up with you and do this podcast, YouTube show, like whatever. So I'm probably sometimes a little more willing to do that kind of thing than I ought to be with my schedule. But I find I'm kind of like Katie, right? I like making people my friend, and I think it's fun, and I think it adds value to my life because I get to see a perspective I didn't see before, and that's entertaining to me. And so if you find something that's entertaining and engaging, you're going to just do it. And so and I like, hey, what's working for you? What's not working for you? What lessons can I learn to bring back to my life? I've tried to practice that just kind of every day. And, it's like anything else, small steps add up. So by the time you have been out of law school for 17 years, you know, been a member of this and that, the other, if you have a relationship, you follow up with somebody, comment on their social media, um, all that kind of stuff. I think it just adds up. And I've just been fortunate to find things that I like to do that give me the option to build those relationships. So I do very little cold calling. I do very little, like, let's go see somebody we don't have a relationship with and hope they like us. Because for me, the ROI is not there. Like, I'm like, why are we doing this? These people don't know us. Like, why won't they just get somebody to call you, dude? Because I've kind of gotten to the point where, how did you find me? Or somebody will find me on the internet. They're like, oh, I've worked with so-and-so. I know you. So I got a call from somebody to help them with a case last week, and she and I served on a board together, 5 years ago. So that went through, the person who actually called me is this is crazy. The person who actually called me is the brother of the former spouse of a woman who's married to my friend, who works at the same place that this other woman works at, where she's now general counsel. I mean, just that's a small world. And I'm working at being more intentional, now that once my state bar role concludes, I will be able to go to more kind of traditional real estate type trade shows and that kind of thing. And then I'll go work and build the same relationships I've built all over the place there. But now I've lived in Georgia my whole life, right? I went to college in Georgia. And so when you start talking about the metro Atlanta area or really anywhere in the state, like, there's some connection there somehow or another. So you've been doing that for 46 years. That's just kind of what happens. You take me to Wyoming, I probably don't know. But I can leverage relationships through my law practice so that we can service people in other jurisdictions, that sort of thing. But that's my business development model. I went through this internal leadership program where we did talk about the actual sales funnel, like, how do you push people through the 5 stages of your sales funnel? And the joke was always that I like to swim in the top of my sales funnel.
If you've been inspired to leverage your practice to create financial freedom, please schedule a consultation with Deasil Wealth Management. The legacy you dreamed of is a 15-minute phone call away from becoming a reality.
The more I know, the more money I can make.